Welcome to Study Loop.
For this problem, we are examining the Mundo Candy Company. The candy company makes 3 types of candies in 3 different cities. And for each type of candy, we need to track 2 main supplies, or 2 main ingredients, chocolate and sugar. So first, we're going to make a matrix. We're going to call it A, that shows how much of each ingredient is needed to make a kilogram of each different type of candy. So this is going to be a 2 by 3 matrix. And I'm going to put some labels on just so we remember what these numbers mean. Going down the side, these are our 2 types of ingredients, sugar and chocolate. And we have 3 candies, and I'm going to abbreviate. We have Cheery Cherry, which I'm going to abbreviate as CC. We have Mucho Mocha, MM, and Almond Delight, AD. So per kilogram of each of these candies, what kind of materials do I need? Well, my Cheery Cherry takes half a kilogram of sugar and 0.2 kilograms of chocolate. Mucho Mocha needs 0.4 kilograms of sugar and 0.3 kilograms of chocolate. And Almond Delight requires 0.3 kilograms of each. So this is a nice way to organize how much of each I need. Next, we're going to make another matrix, and we're going to call this one C. And for C, we want to keep track of how much each of these supplies costs in each of the different cities. So this is going to be a 3 by 2. Okay. Across the top, sugar and chocolate. Okay, sorry, that's kind of hard to read that sugar. Let me try that again. Okay, those are our 2 ingredients, sugar and chocolate. Down the side, these are going to be our 3 cities. And again, I'm going to abbreviate. We've got San Diego. I have Mexico City and Managua. So those are our 3 cities. So how much do each of these ingredients cost in each of these different cities? Well, we know for sugar, 1 kilogram of sugar is $4 in San Diego, $2 in Mexico City, $1 in Managua. How about our chocolate? Well, our chocolate costs are $3, $5, and $7, respectively. So now, I would like to know how much, I'm going to kind of put these together. How much is it going to cost me to make each type of candy in each city? Okay, again, this is per kilogram. So what I need to do is I'm going to take C times A. So what that gives me, I'm going to recopy these. So 421,357 times my A matrix. Okay, so let's take a look at what this means. When I do my matrix multiplication, we go across the rows, down the columns. So my first matrix, I go across, that is San Diego, sugar. Okay, and I'm multiplying it by how much sugar is in my Cheery Cherry. And then how much chocolate costs and how much chocolate is in my Cheery Cherry. So when I put in my answer, this is going to be San Diego, Cheery Cherry. How much does it cost per kilogram? Okay. If I reversed A and C and tried to do that multiplication, that while I could physically do it, the numbers wouldn't make sense. I'd be multiplying the amount of sugar, chocolate, cities. The numbers just wouldn't make much sense. So this is how I can make sense of this data. When I do my multiplication, my 3 columns will correspond to the types of candy. And I'm going to have 3 rows, and those are going to correspond with my 3 cities. So each of these entries, let me write that so you can see it better. Each of these entries will tell me how much it costs to make the candy in each of the 3 cities. So let's populate. San Diego making Cheery Cherry. That's the one I have marked in red. Across the first row, down that first column. And I'm going to end up with 2.6. $2.60. Well, let's stay with San Diego. I'm going to stay on that first row. How about the second column? Okay, so first row, second column, that is my Mucho Mocha in San Diego. It's going to cost $2.5 per kilogram. And my Almond Delight would be the third column. That's at 2.1. Now let's move on to our second row. That is Mexico City. And I'll do the first column, second column, and third column. And when I do, I get $2, $2.30, $2.10. And finally, let's do the third row. This corresponds with Managua. And I'll do each of the three columns corresponding to my three candies. I get 1.9, 2.5, and 2.4. Okay, so let's just review how we would read this final matrix, the one here I just marked in blue. If I wanted to know what my combined cost for sugar and chocolate, so that combined cost is to produce 1 kilogram of Mucho Mocha in Managua, I would go to the Mucho Mocha column and the Managua row. And where they meet, that tells me that it would cost $2.50 in that city to make that candy. Okay, now we have one last thing we want to do with this. I have a special shipment of certain amounts of each of these candies. How much would it cost to put together this order in each of these cities? Well, to do that, I'm going to start by recopying that matrix we just came up with. 0.9, 2.5, and 2.4. Okay, so again, as a reminder, I'm just going to put these little labels on. The columns are my 3 types of candies. My rows correspond to each of my cities. And I'm going to multiply that by my special order. I want to have 100 of the Cheery Cherries, 200 of the Mucho Mochas, 500 of the Almond Delights. So now if I multiply this, if I multiply across San Diego, it costs $2.60 per kilogram of Cheery Cherry, and I want 100 of them. It costs $2.50 to make 1 kilogram of Mucho Mocha, and I want 200 kilograms. And it's $2.10 per kilogram of Almond Delight, and I want 500. So when I multiply and add them together, that's going to tell me the total cost for San Diego for this special order. Okay, so doing that multiplication out is going to give me a value of $1,810. Mexico City, if I go to the second row, that's going to give me $1,710. And the third row gives me $1,890 for Managua. So which of these is the most cost effective? Well, it's the second column, and that corresponds with Mexico City.